So what's happening with them now that they've moved out of Hickshaw? We're actually now have renovations going on. If you're ever over in Hickshaw, the first floor is a construction site now. So we're Student Financial Services. Was
I'm
that.
restarting to
We're
try to
going to
reset.
be finance downstairs to take up that space. So it's just a floor plan for that. And then the Welcome Center, or what used to be the Welcome Center, Kelly's group, the Center for Professional Development and Training, will be moving into there. And then also, where One Stop was, Human Resources will be leaving Building 1 and will then be going over to and occupying that space. So there's a lot of construction going on over there. Budget update. This is all I know. Those of you that follow the news, they have not made any decisions on the budget. In fact, they have extended it. They'll get started again next week. So they told us this morning that they expect it won't be long, but it's probably going to be another week or two before we really know anything about the budget. I know all the divisions have been their stuff, so now we're just kind of in a holding pattern until we know what the legislature is going to do. So I apologize. I'd love to give you a lot of crazy news and all this new money we're getting and things we can do. I have nothing. We will try our best to keep you informed. My favorite topic right now, not a lot to add. We have tried to be pretty transparent as the requests come in. We do post them. I think there's a website out there that we post all requests. I got one last night. I don't think it's been posted yet. We'll get that out there once I fully read it. We just post everything that we send to the state is getting posted out there. This is one of those things where we're truly not that worried about it. Everything's open for interpretation, but we feel pretty good about how we operate, what we do. We've looked at the metrics, comparing ourselves, not the performance metrics, but all the other operational metrics that they look at least in SUS, and we do really well. Doesn't mean people aren't going to find things that we can do better, and we welcome that. But it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of effort. There's a lot of people having to pull this data together and putting it together to submit. But other than that, we're not overly concerned about this. Master plan. Hopefully you all took place in this. This is an exciting thing that we go through every 5 years, preparing our 10-year master plan every 5 years. So it is a look forward. As you can see, we're going to present a draft of that to the DOT in July. Then hopefully have the final later in the fall. We do appreciate everyone that took place, and there's been a lot of focus groups and a lot of input. So that will be pretty exciting when that finally comes out this fall, summer fall. Leadership, Dr. Beach may be touching on this, but I did want to touch on it as well. If you haven't seen, we did come out with a new Osprey Leadership Initiative. I encourage you all to look at this. If you have any thoughts that you may want to gain experience, get into leadership, you can make an application of this. This year it is going to be a small cohort. This is our first year doing this, 5 to 7. But as the years go on, hopefully this may be able to grow and we can offer it to more. I did.
Do I get his 2 minutes back? 45 seconds, okay. All right, I will be quick. I'm Andrea Jones, Vice President for Marketing and Communications. I've met many of y'all, and I've been here just about a year, and I think I have the best job at UMass, quite frankly. I want to talk a little bit about what our priorities and goals are in marketing and communications, and many of you have heard me say this, and I'll say it again. We have 2 areas of focus. We are on enrollment, or we are on reputation. Which is fine. So on the enrollment side, I'm constantly working to help get to that 25,000 number that is stamped on everyone's head, and want to ensure that we are doing everything from marketing and communications that we can to support the enrollment strategy, led by the fabulous Dr. Susan Perez. We are really trying to align our messaging and our communications to attract and become a destination of choice for parents and students. We think about UNF's superpowers and what makes us distinctive and unique. We want to really hone in on that messaging and make sure that we are clear about what makes UNF UNF. We're telling that story to a variety of audiences in a variety of ways. And on the enrollment side, it's really about telling the story of what your experience is going to be at UNF. The thing about marketing, you've probably heard the 3 Ps of marketing, which is price. We certainly, from a price standpoint, from a tuition standpoint, you can't beat Florida tuition. Even if you're an out-of-state student, you can't beat it. So we are doing great on the price side. Think about the product. You think about what we are producing, our UNF graduates, the experience that they have when they're here, the culture of care, what our faculty, what all of you are doing to support our students and ensure that they have this incredible experience, from internships to really learning about how they can go and be successful. We are doing the right things by our students, and we see it in how they talk about us. They really feel strongly that we have done a good job, and they tell others about their experience here. So we've got the right price, we've got the right product. What we've been missing a little bit is the promotion. So when I got here, I heard a lot about UNF being the best kept secret. We're done with that. We are no longer going to be the best kept secret to anyone. We are going to be proudly out there talking about UNF to our friends, to our family. As the provost said, send your children here, get additional degrees from here. But really, truly, we're doing the right thing for our region, for our community, for our state, for the nation. And we need to tell people that. We need to tell people what we're doing, what differentiates us, what our superpowers are, and be very open and honest with our community about it. So that's the enrollment side. On the reputation side, we are trying to get right into the top 100 for U.S. News and World Report. It's a university goal. It is a goal for the SUS. So if you look at the SUS strategic plan, they talk about a handful of institutions getting into the top 100. They're pointing at us. They want us to be in the top 100 in U.S. News and World Report. One of the main pieces of that is reputation score. So this is our peer institutions, faculty and leadership from other institutions ranking us and knowing about this. So we're doing a lot to promote the institution on the reputation side. I know I'm going to go over 8 minutes, but I'm going to really be good. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about UNF Impact. What you're seeing on the screen is how we honed in our messaging from a reputational standpoint that really promotes our superpower. So experiential learning, being #1 for jobs. We are out there with regional messaging to our leadership in the area. We are out there nationally with national messaging. And how many of y'all follow UNF on LinkedIn? Actually, everybody in this room, if you're not connected on LinkedIn with UNF, get on your phone and do it now. And yesterday, or 2 days ago, we launched a UNF Impact email on LinkedIn. So it's a subscriber-based email where once a month, we're going to tell you about the most important things that are happening at UNF. In 2 days, how many subscribers do you think UNF got? Anybody got my team is not going to get into this. Anybody got a thought of how many people subscribed to our UNF Impact email? Well, that's about 6,500, which is fantastic. So we got more than 6,000 people that are now subscribing, and everyone in this room, please subscribe. I want to talk a little bit about social media. Again, we're really leaning in on experiential learning. Under the leadership of Dr. Erin Richmond, what we're doing with experiential learning is really distinctive and unique, not just in Florida, but really nationwide. We are one of the only institutions in the country that is guaranteeing an experiential learning opportunity to every student in this incoming class. So we are really out there with our photography, with how we're telling the story, with how we're telling this to prospective students and parents, to regional leaders. So you'll see a lot of our new Real World campaign. This is based on our overall brand strategy, which is our True North brand strategy, which we launched in October, but this is going to be evolution of this look, feel, and how we describe ourselves. Everyone in this room, you are all Osprey ambassadors. We do have a social media tool where folks can join and get social media messaging that they can share out with their own friends and family. People are much more likely to trust you than the brand. So we think about how we're telling the story of UNF and how we're really getting out there. Everyone in this room can really do us a great service by being an Osprey ambassador and sharing out our positive content. We've honed in our messaging. We're being very clear about how we talk about the institution, about what makes us distinctive. It would be great if everyone in this room would be that for us. I wanted to share, we've got a new ad that is going along with our real world experiential learning campaigns, and we wanted to show this. This should not count against my time.
Every student gets real world experience.
Real world experience.
also promoting it on YouTube, so we've got 25,000 views on YouTube. If you see the video, share it. Again, the more that we share, the more we talk about the institution and talk about what makes us distinctive, what makes us us, the more people will believe us. Also just wanted to mention our new experiential learning billboard campaign. Again, same look and feel of what we launched with in October. So you can see this aspirational, really focused on the student. Our brand strategy, if you go to our brand website, you'll see the look, feel, the photography style. This is all continuing in how we are telling the story to all of our audiences. The more we hone in and the more we are saying the same thing over and over, like I said, the more people are going to believe us. So here are some of our billboards. We've got an incredible creative team. This is all done in-house, which is really terrific. And then if you haven't seen, please go by both Brooks and our biology building. We put some really beautiful environmentals up that are also supporting this experiential learning opportunities. We were very strategic in where we placed these. These are exactly where students are going on tours. So as students are coming to our Welcome Center and going on tours, they're seeing some of these beautiful environmentals that are supporting our messaging. They're seeing it in everything from the admissions marketing materials that they're getting to when they come on campus for a tour, to how we're telling the story out in the community. So it's really a connected environment. And then, and this is the interactive part, everyone on your table, you have a YUNF card. So please feel free to pick up a YUNF card. This is your elevator pitch to your friends, to your family, to the people you go to church with, to the career day that you're speaking at your child's school. When somebody asks you, why should you choose the University of North Florida, here are the 3 key differentiators for UNF. So I'm wondering if y'all can help me by reading off our 3 differentiators. Number 1, surely our real world experience. So the fact that we are offering every student one of these opportunities coming this fall, the fact that we already had 85% of our students doing these experiential learning opportunities before we made it official, this is clearly a differentiator for us. It's the reason we're number 1 for jobs. When we say number 1 for jobs, 80% of our students stay in Florida and 70% get jobs right here in the region. That's an easy stat for you all to remember and tell your friends and family about. We also think about how we take care of people, our culture of care. You've heard the president talk about it, but really what that means is the way we take care of our students, the way we interact with each other, and the fact that this really is a family, and you feel it here. We've got 17,000 students. We're not a huge football school. You're going to get that unique experience here that you're not going to get at other institutions. And then third, location. So this means both our beautiful campus built on a nature preserve, but also the fact that we are in the hottest job market that's number 1 for entrepreneurship in the country. If you want to get a job, I'm probably not going to end up living in Tallahassee or in Gainesville. So if you want to get a job in this region, we are the institution for that. So please practice this. Go home, get in front of your mirror, and think about how you can make this real too. Because again, we are all ambassadors for this institution. Our paychecks are signed twice a month, anyway, by the University of Florida. And we want to do whatever we can to help support the mission and support our strategic plan. And telling the story of the institution will help us do that. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Lorraine Beach, and I'm Senior Advisor to the President. I have been here since August, and it has been an amazing experience, and I'm just honored to be here with all of you. And when I started back in August, the President said, we just had this task force that provided this amazing comprehensive report, and I would like you to take this and lead the charge. And so I read through this and I thought, yes, this is certainly really important and really valuable, and I am excited to work through this. And so quickly, for those that may not be aware of this, but so the Task Force on the Culture of Belonging was commissioned in November of 2023 by our president. And there were 18 members, both faculty and staff. It was important that it be across the campus and not just representative of one group or another. We had 2 co-chairs. One is here, I know this morning, Kelly Harrison, you've already heard from him, and Matt Leon. And they met twice a month. So think about how many meetings we all have. They met twice a month throughout the spring of 2024. And they submitted a very comprehensive report by category, and I'll share those in a second, but with multiple recommended action items. And that's what I have been really focused on. And so I'm going to give you some updates on some of those initiatives. And here are those categories, and I know there are many. So like I said, this was a comprehensive report with multiple recommended action items. So let me share with you a little bit of what we've accomplished thus far. When I say we, there's absolutely no way that one person can really influence the culture of an institution. So multiple partners have been involved in helping us identify opportunities and help to move this forward. So first and foremost, employee appreciation. This was actually, I won't say easy, but this was the first one we tackled. Two things that really, I think, are helping in this area. These will be ongoing. The first is recognition cards for employees, like birthdays and work anniversaries. And I know a couple of you have received some of these cards. And that, was important to the president to find a way to individualize attention to our colleagues. In addition, we do have a culture of care committee, and this is, again, a cross-campus interdepartmental committee of folks that continue to focus on things that we can do as a community to continue this culture of care, as Andrea referenced this, right? We really are a community that cares for one another and about one another. This committee is chaired by Sheila Spivey, who's here this morning. I see her in the back. And so this committee is really focusing every quarter on what they can do to make sure that the community is experiencing different, kindness and feelings of warmth and empathy. For instance, in November, they did a Day of Thanks, if some of you remember that. They did random acts of kindness in February, and then they did a whole week-long of culture of care activities in March. Employee engagement, we have a couple opportunities here, and so if anyone is looking for some ways to get involved in helping to move all of this forward, I would love some input and feedback. One of the recommended items was to refresh the first Thursdays, and for those of you who attend them, they're fun events. They're totally open to anyone and everyone. But the task force recommended that we take that opportunity to really build in more intentional feelings of connectedness. So if anyone has any ideas, I'm very open to that. And then feather the nest. I love this idea. We have not done this yet because the goal is for fall of 2025 to do a week-long celebration as we get ready to welcome our students in the fall of 2025. It's going to be a record enrollment year, right, Susan? And so what a great way to really just have fun through the week. It's a hard week. There's a lot going on. Many people have multiple commitments and things that they need to accomplish during that week. So we're going to be looking for ways to sprinkle some fun and connections throughout that week. So again, if anyone would like to work with me on that, I welcome that input. Leadership, a couple of pieces of feedback. One was really making sure that the leadership across campus gets some specific feedback on what we do well and what are some opportunities for us to be better leaders. And so we are launching the 360 assessment. We're going to start with our cabinet members. We thought that was a good place to get some volunteers. And then
yes, I can send you the link, or if she goes to search YouTube, the stream is the first thing that comes up.
I was so excited.
Or I can send you
For mentioning the Osprey Leadership Initiative. This is a very comprehensive, year-long, experiential leadership program.
Starts in 3 hours. She
Applications
has the wrong
are due
link.
by May 16th. So if you are interested and have not
They
yet,
sent it out. They
have a chance
updated
to
it.
fill out your application.
Maybe 15-20 minutes ago.
We're very excited about
Can you
that.
pull up the website and see if it's working for you?
Yeah, I'm looking at
Professional
it.
development, so
I'll pull up the-
again, have identified some opportunities where we can develop
yeah.
some additional training
That way you
and
can keep
support
on
for
bringing
folks
it to
in
them.
different types of leadership roles. One is the chairs.
What's the site?
And they specifically said, yes, we would
What's
love to
the
have
site?
some additional true
The website?
professional
For the
development
professional
opportunities.
Yeah.
development
So
form,
I know John
I
Cannon
don't
and
know
his
the
team are
address,
working
but
on
Google
some of
will
that.
probably find it, or
And then just additional leadership programs for anyone who's interested in just strengthening their leadership skills. Safe and healthy work environment. This came up multiple times in the report. I've only captured it once, but really
It's up. If you,
channels that
it's
we
you. The site.
reporting issues and concerns that they may have. We do have some channels already in existence. We're looking to find some additional ways to provide that support so that everybody feels safe if they need to or to report an issue or a concern. Employee pay, benefits, perks. Our HR team and Scott Bennett have done some comparative analyses over the past 2 years. For 3 consecutive years, we have seen salary increases here at UNF, but I will tell you that we are in agreement that we can do more and better. This continues to be a priority. If we had, a gazillion dollars, everybody would get a big raise every year. We obviously don't quite have that, but really being intentional about trying to make sure that people are recognized for their contributions. Rewards and recognition, this is also something that has been worked on throughout the year, and Julian Carter and his team have some potential opportunities that we'll be launching sometime soon. So we're really trying to be more reflective of the very diverse workforce that we have. So more to come on that. And communication, I think, you heard from Andrea 2 seconds ago, or 8 minutes ago. But really, our president
It's up.
has evidence of
I just received it.
Thank you.
In addition, Mark Hines has really found multiple channels to keep our campus community informed and involved. And so I can repeat what Andrea said. If you have not yet subscribed to the Impact newsletter, please do that. And stay connected with us in all ways possible. And social media, we have a great presence there. So it's another place to really stay on top of what's going on. And the last thing that the task force said was, please do not shelve this report and, ignore it and let it die. And so you have my absolute word that, first of all, I think this is really important. It's critical. Peter Drucker has said, culture will lead strategy for breakfast. And we have some audacious strategic goals on this campus. So really important to keep this alive. And so I give it to you. I will continue to do that. And I assure you that at every one-on-one thing and breathing document, and I just want to really restate a thank you to the committee that worked so hard on this. We will continue to move forward. So we've had a great start in the past 9 months that I've been here, but really looking forward to continue to work on this important initiative. And thank you so much.
Right, wasn't that a great job? They had a lot of information to share in very limited time, so amazing amount of information. I'm sure you all can scatter it, so thank you very much for that. So we're going to head into part 2. These are the moderated questions. So I'm going to ask some questions of the group. Todd's going to keep me in check, make sure we don't go over 20 minutes. I'm going to try to get through as many questions as we can, but keep in mind, as I'm asking these questions and you're thinking of, oh, I really wish you would have asked this, jot it down because you're going to have your turn in just a moment. So our first question is a warm-up question. So 1 minute or less, I'm going to ask each of the panelists the same question. What is the one thing you wish faculty, staff, or students understood about university leadership?
All right. That we care. And I mean that sincerely. We want to get to yes. No different from the way you come to work every day and do the jobs that you do. You're here because you care about this university. And we do. We put our hearts and soul into it. We don't always get it right. But at the end of the day, we are troubled just like you would be for your activities and things that you're responsible for. And everybody that I know who works with me, or not even with me, closely every day, but at this university, in the roles that we have, really care about this institution, about the institution, about the students, about you personally, just overall and generally. That's what we do.
Thank you. Scott?
I think we probably should have discussed this, or I was going to say it. So I apologize. But no, and I will reiterate, I've been through a lot of situations, a lot of panels. A lot of this, in this administration truly does care. Hopefully you've seen over the last few years, this is on this, the amount of energy and time and money that we do spend. And I'm quite sure we fail quite a bit. But this leadership team does care, and they really are trying to get it right for you and for the students. I think that does need to be said. When you talk about each other, I think, one thing that probably doesn't get, there's a lot of things that's not within our control. And we do struggle. We knew if we had a magic wand, we could wave it and make it all better. But so much of it, especially in a public institution, is outside of what we can do. And even though we may vehemently disagree with it. So we spend a lot of time trying to make the best of these situations. And it's not easy, it's not clean, it's not pretty. In fact, it's ugly a lot of the time. But to try to balance that caring with the, hey, we've got to do this. There's no way around it. So how can we make the best of this?
Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely should coordinate on our answers. I agree. I think the real thing for me, what brought me here, is that this is an administration that is ethical and honest and has integrity. And I know those are just words, but they're words until you work somewhere where that's not the case. And if you have leadership that is not ethical or is not transparent or is not trying to do the right thing every day, it makes a huge difference. And so I think for me, it really is important that we are working with integrity. And the president says a lot to us in our cabinet meetings that everyone at the university reports up to someone in this room. He literally says that about every single cabinet meeting, and what he's saying to us is a reminder that we have to take care of the entire university. And so, the expectation is that the administration is thinking about the best interest of our people, our community, our reputation, and I agree. I think it really is about integrity and about caring, and I can assure you that everyone in the administration feels that strongly.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump on the caring component, and so obviously I'm working through the culture of care initiative, so that's front and center for me. The other thing I think it's easy sometimes to forget that while we're in leadership roles, it doesn't mean we always know everything that's going on, and the best way to stay informed is to stay in touch. And so I regularly invite people to, let's grab a coffee, let's sit down and talk about what's going on in your department and in your personal world. Not your personal things, your personal professional world, but it's really important for us to stay connected to all of you, and this is a great way for us to do some of that and to build those relationships. But at the end of the day, it comes down to relationships with all of you, with our students, and so I welcome and encourage all of you to take a few minutes periodically to just keep us updated on what's really going on in your world that's really exciting that maybe we don't quite know about yet. But I always love learning about the great things going on in each of your areas. So I just encourage you, the culture of care goes both ways. And so, keep us updated as to what's going on, what's important in your here at UNF.
Thank you. So we'll go on to question 2, and this is for Provost Patterson. How has UNF adjusted to the newly mandated post-tenure review, or PTR as we call it, process, and what significant changes have been introduced as a result?
We've adjusted very carefully. So back in 2022, the Florida legislature amended Florida statutes authorizing the Board of Governors, that's BOG, to adopt a post-tenure review regulation. And so in turn, we've modified and we've adopted a post-tenure review policy. It's a process. They do something at their end and we have to respond. And so in order to make this work, we had to engage in a negotiated memorandum of understanding with UFF, and that process then itemized the process for post-tenure review for faculty. So very quickly, and in a nutshell, the process is that each year, eligible faculty will submit their PTR dossier into Folio. Those materials are reviewed, following the procedures itemized in the MOU by the department chair, the college dean, the university PTR committee, and finally by me as a provost. Taking the recommendations of the chair, dean, the committee under consideration, the provost makes the final decision as to whether the faculty member's performance in teaching, research, and service over the past 5 years met or exceeded expectations, does not meet expectations, or is unsatisfactory. This decision is based on evidence included in the dossier, and faculty are notified by letter at the end of the scheduled time frame. So that process is actually happening right now. Last year, the 2023-24 academic year was the first time we conducted PTR at UNF. And I just mentioned we are currently in the process of conducting the PTR for this 2024-25 academic year. In fact, this coming Friday, faculty who are undergoing PTR will be able to see the final decisions uploaded into Folio. And so the information, if you want more, it's a lot here, but it's available on our website. There's a PTR webpage at UNF Academic and Student Affairs website, or if you Google PTR UNF, the information is very much there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our third question is for Scott Bennett. What recent changes impacting staff, including the new leave policy and the merger of the two associations, could you provide a brief update on the reasons behind these decisions and highlight any of the details staff should be aware of?
Sure, I guess I'd probably ask it different. I mean, I guess I always looked at it as why shouldn't all staff be treated the same? This has been a conversation, I'll call myself old for a minute, but we've had this conversation probably going back since we devolved from the state back in 2004. We had opportunities then to do it. We tried a couple other times since then. It never really, we would always get pushback. But I could never understand why we thought staff had to have different policies, had to have different benefits. This doesn't make any logical sense. We're all staff. So I think all the stars kind of aligned. I mean, we got absolutely no pushback. In fact, we were going to do the leave changes, a lot of policy changes, regardless if the associations come out or not. So like I said, we talked about the associations that were certainly enthusiastically behind it. In fact, drove the change. So yeah, I mean, we're all here. There really shouldn't be any difference in who we are, what we're doing. It just, I don't have a great answer. It doesn't make logical sense to have some arbitrary split or divide amongst that.
Thank you. So our fourth question is for Dr. Lorraine Beach. How is UNF advancing its strategic plan? And what key milestones have been achieved so far?
Soaring Higher Together, there's multiple goals in there. So I'm just gonna get a few highlights, and I'm gonna do them in a different order than they're listed in the strategic plan itself. But there's a reason for that. So relevant and impactful research is one of the categories, and I know you've heard of some of the successes we've had in that arena. We have the faculty who worked on and patented a compound that can turn off cancer, and certainly there are many other examples of great research, but we also have committed funds here at the University of North Florida to do additional research, so I think that's really important. Partnerships with the community, and we do have the Office of Community Engagement and Partnerships led by Dr. Richmond Wynn. He and his team are just doing some really great work there. Success of faculty and staff. I covered some of these initiatives in my task force update, but really looking for opportunities to continue to celebrate and support all of our faculty and staff. The last I'm going to hit on is really the first in our strategic plan, and it's student success. And I have some metrics for those of you who love numbers. I do have a couple of metrics that I'd like to share specific to that. So one of our goals is, in our first time in college entering cohorts is high school GPA over 4.0. And in fall of 2024, it was a 4.1. So we've already exceeded that goal. Yay, good job, team. Median wage for our bachelor's grads employed full-time, 1 year post-graduation. The goal is for them to earn $47,000 annually. For the 2022-2023 cohort, $50,100. That's fantastic. And then faculty compensation is another one that we set a goal for $85,000 annually. We've already exceeded that in fall of 24, $86,900. So, but one that I really love to brag about, and so does our president, is our retention, student retention. And so we are breaking records here as well. So so for prior year, APR, first time in college, with a fall to fall with above a 2.0. Broke a record last year with 82.7, and which is great, in and of itself. That was the record breaking. We are currently sitting at 84.1. And we're not done yet. So there's really some amazing things going on related to our strategic plan. You've already heard about our goals to reach 25,000 by 2028, and you've already heard the great support that our enrollment team is receiving, and we're looking at a really fabulous year for fall of 2025, and just amazing growth coming after that thanks to the leadership of Susan Cummings and her team. So it's just a lot of really great things going on, and so thanks for the opportunity to share some of those.
So we're down to 2 minutes. I want to skip over to a question for Scott, and I'm going to try to come back to Andrea. So given the recent tragic shooting at Florida State University, how does UNF prepare for active shooter situations? And are there any planned changes to its current protocols in response to this event?
Yeah, obviously it's a tragic event. In fact, anybody saw me on the phone this morning walking in, that's literally what we're talking about with a group of all of us from all the campuses. For those of you who don't know, we routinely go through this. We have a crisis management team that meets every month. We have another incident response team that we literally do live drills. We get together in a room, we go through these, not just for active shooting, but for hurricane, or for diseases or any kind of incident that may occur. It is an extremely involved process. We invite statewide people in from the emergency management teams. So this is just a routine part of our day-to-day operations in life. Not to mean we've got everything covered, because you always learn something new. I really, for public safety, we really don't know the protocols, quite honestly, as far as how we respond to these. The one thing that I will say that you are probably going to start hearing a lot about is training. The one thing that I know that we have really good training going on, especially for active shooting drills. If you haven't heard of Run, Hide, Fight, I highly encourage you and your staff to go through this training. You're going to hear a lot more of this, and we're going to make a lot more efforts into making sure everyone is aware of their surroundings, what to do in case of these tragic events. And then we also are looking at everything involved in the buildings and security and that kind of stuff, to see if there's anything that we can learn from these tragic events that we can do better, or we need to do differently in the classrooms, in the buildings, any of that kind of stuff.
And I would just tag onto that, just from a communication standpoint. We have a lot of conversations in marketing and communications and looked at the FSU response. I will tell you, they did an incredible job of keeping their community up to date. And so we're using that as lessons learned for us. I will also tell you, after spending 15 years at Georgia State University, which is in downtown Atlanta, and having been through many, many really, really scary police events, I can tell you that our police chief and our emergency management team at UNF are truly the best in the country. So that, for those of y'all that don't know, our chief, he's incredible. I mean, really, truly, we should go to sleep better at night knowing that that our chief is in charge, and it's the same thing with emergency management. So, so just to echo what Scott said, I mean, I feel like this university is prepared. I think there's always more we can do, and we've talked about the Run, Hide, Fight training and what we can do to help promote that across the university. I think that's really important. So, and I know our police and our emergency management are really committed to that as well.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on to part 3. We did run out of time for that, but if we have some time near the end, I'll come back to some of the other questions I had planned to ask. So I want to tell you a little about how this part's going to work. We do have 20 minutes total for this. So there are 4 ways that you can participate. You can come up to the microphones, and we've got our wonderful microphone assistants that have turned those microphones on for us. You can join by the web. So just pull out your web browser on whatever device you're using. Go to pollev.com/UNF and then type your question in and submit it. The third way is by texting. So you're just going to send a text to 22333, type in your question, send it in. Or you can pull out your camera app and shoot a picture of the QR code, and you'll get the same little box to type questions in. So go ahead and send us in your questions. I'm going to move on down to the floor so I can see you better.
Good morning. My name is Anne-Marie Campbell. I'm with the College of Arts and Sciences. It is wonderful to see you. Thank all 4 of you for your leadership. This is more of a personal leadership question. I'm so grateful for this new Osprey initiative to build leaders from within. There are so many people with whom I've worked who are strong candidates for that, and I'm excited that the university is investing in them. As we're approaching the summer and it slows down, how do each of you as leaders recharge? Is there something that you are looking forward to reading or watching or doing? Thank you.
Honestly, this summer, I only chuckle at slowing down. I think this president actually gets busier. A lot of that's more from the finance rating of the year and all that kind of stuff. And it's also a time when the less students on campus, we have a lot more construction projects, and it's time when we actually try to get things done. But having said all that, I think we all do, and, you know, I think with my family, not long ago, I wouldn't take more vacations. So we do try to travel. And we just do it. You just have to say, look, these 2 weeks or whatever it is, I'm not going to be here. And so, you know, I've got a great staff under me, and I think we all do. But you just have to trust in your staff, say, there's nothing gonna happen in 2 weeks that, look, they can't handle it, and I have to be here. So you kind of have to take care of yourself a little bit too, that, hey, I'm not that important. I can be gone for a week or two.
I disagree, Scott's very important. So two of the ways that I really recharge over the summer is I like to run. I don't have as much time during the traditional school year to get runs in, so I look forward to those opportunities. Now that the sun comes up earlier in the morning and stays out later at night, I have more opportunities to go from running, and I love to read. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I don't run unless someone is chasing me. No, so from a recharge standpoint, I might. So yes, Scott is reminding me of the time, I'm going to tell the entire room, of the time when, speaking of our fabulous police chief, I saw a raccoon on campus, and coming from an urban institution, this is not about how to recharge, by the way, thank you so much. Coming from an institution in downtown Atlanta, it was very rare, you could never see a raccoon. So when I saw the raccoon, my first thought was to pick up the phone and call our police chief and tell him that I saw a raccoon. And as I was dialing the number and he was answering, I don't know if this is a police issue, but he was so
It's
lovely.
not.
It turned out he was so lovely. So Frank was so lovely. He was like, no, if you see something, say something. We are on a nature preserve, as you know, so it is not terribly rare to see raccoons on our campus. Has anybody in this room ever seen a raccoon on our campus? Okay. And anyone called the police chief when you saw a raccoon? Yep, just me. So the next morning, I came in and Frank, our chief of chief, to his credit, told no one of my embarrassing phone call. I went and told everybody that I called the chief when I saw a raccoon. So the next morning, I come into my office, and there is a giant photo of a raccoon peering into my window, taped up against my office that John Hale put up. Scott's office. So no, I don't run, and
I
if I
did tell everyone.
So for a recharge, back to recharge. Thanks so much for that. No, so in general, I mean, truly, like, I hope my team will keep me honest, but I mean, I feel like we put so much effort and energy into this place that the good news is we're 8 to 5. Hopefully it's not a lot of nights and weekends for people. I do feel like we get a lot of time off for the holidays. You know, we are probably lower paid than peers and colleagues in corporate America and other places, but with that comes a lot of the benefits of working in an institution. So to Scott's point, summer is really the busy time for us as we're thinking about building our next class. There's not a lot of huge amounts of time off, but I certainly encourage our team to not get nickel and dime ourselves over time off, because I know and I feel confident that everybody is working really hard. So thank you for forcing me to tell them I think it's hard.
I don't know how you top that one. I am a complete failure with this question. Anne Marie, like, I don't do what you all do, what we should. But I vow to do better. I've been living vicariously through the wonderful places my friends and my colleagues go. And occasionally I try to go home to take care of my parents or elderly and need help. But I'll do better. I'll do better.
All right, thank you very much. This question is for Scott. What new food places will be on campus in the next couple of years?
Great question. The next couple of years, there is a new venue that will be open in the fall in the Student Union. Polishek, I think is going to be opening there. I think it is opening there. There are plans for that. Just to give you an idea, the way we actually come up with, we literally ask the students what they want. It's just not us sitting in the office saying, hey, want to have this on campus. We survey the students repeatedly, student government comes to us all the time. I think one of the things that you're probably also going to see is more, this is not finalized, but we are looking to get it more of a sandwich shop, whether that be Jimmy John's, Firehouse, something like that as well. And then, as growth, there's going to have to be new venues coming on. So we're constantly looking, we're constantly going back to Chartwell's, talking to other campuses, what do you have, what do the students like, student government, what do you want? So those are probably the two most imminent ones coming on, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. This next question is,
Are you gonna, do you want us to talk about that?
I'm going to ask this one, and then
I
I'll
was
come back to
curious.
you. Okay, all right. Why, this is for Andrea. Why did UNF implement the True North, North or Nowhere brand? What was the main reason behind the change?
Sure, so, our brand strategy is a 48-page document, and I feel like uniquely UNF really was kind of a logo that got stamped on things, but didn't really have, the level of, there really wasn't all, it was just very surface level. And so, our True North brand strategy, which got started before I came here, we worked with an outside agency. They did a lot of focus group interviews. There was a lot of conversation about what makes the university distinctive and unique. And then along with all of that foundational language and the pillars of the institution came a new look and feel. So we, in the fall, started talking about the fact that we are Florida's True North. We certainly have a compass history. We're thinking about being in North Florida, kind of a shining star in North Florida. But that is not something that you're going to see plastered everywhere. So on day one of our brand launch in October, we did the North or Nowhere takeover. But that was really about a PR initiative. We also went to tons of local businesses, talked a lot about how we have alumni everywhere. It was about the fact that we are everywhere and we are proudly staking our claim in our region and in Jacksonville. But as we have continued to evolve our brand strategy, again, you're not seeing True North plastered on things. You're seeing some t-shirts, you're seeing a handful of things, but it is a much larger way that we talk about the institution. And so even the evolution in what we're doing now with our experiential learning, the look, the feel is the same, but you're not going to see that same kind of uniquely UNF plastered all over everything. You're not going to see True North plastered on everything. It's bigger than a logo. It's bigger than a saying or a slogan.
Thank you. And would you like to ask your question? What's your name and department?
My name is Tamara Connor, and I'm the office manager for the Department of Art, History, and Design. And you were talking about campus safety. When we had about 5 years ago, there was like a person who threatened like to shoot up the school or whatever. Not one person came to our department and said, you should move away from your windows and maybe go inside the building or just go home for the day. There is no security in our building. We never see the police officers do a beat when they come to our department to pick something up like lost and found. Oh, wow, I didn't know you guys were in here. So how can you say this university is safe when they don't even know who's in what building and they can't find our rooms? They should know how to get to A and B. If we say, hey, we're in the Department of Music, they should be able to walk up to music instead of like, how do I get there? Until we call department, we're like, you have to go all the way, and we sit there, we wave at them when they're walking in the hallways, like, so how can you say we're safe and secure when they can't even find us and no one comes to us when we have like an active shooter on campus and tell us not to?
Yeah. No, I said we certainly failed. What I would encourage you to do, if there are issues like that, let me know. We can certainly do better. A lot of times, the police, they're human too. So a lot of times we do some renovations in buildings that what they think is in a building no longer is in a building or is in a different place. So it's a struggle for them too. But yeah, let us know. I think Andrew touched on communication is one thing we can do better. But yeah, no quick answer for you, then let me know, and then we can try to make sure we get all those bases covered.
All right, I appreciate all the time. Thank you.
All right, y'all have sent a lot of questions in, so I know I'm going to miss them, but, and of course your names aren't tied to these, so if and I know I will, miss answering your question, getting your questions before our panel, please email me and I will get you an answer for your questions, okay? Because we've got a lot have come in and we've only got a few more minutes, so. This question could be open to any of you as we're trying to climb the ladder of Florida universities. How are we keeping up with the competitive advantage? How are we keeping the competitive advantage sustainable? What steps are the other universities taking to try and improve, and why are ours better?
I mean, I think everybody's always trying to go up, right? So, I mean, we're not doing this in a vacuum. I know Abby Wilcox and team have a terrific tool where we're looking at rankings. We're thinking about the elements that we can tweak as an institution to drive our rankings up. But I think that's a valid question. No one is doing this in a vacuum. We're not, USF and UF and FSU are not saying like, oh, never mind, we're just gonna rest on our laurels and let UNF come up. So I think from a communications marketing standpoint, it's honing in on the things that are different about this institution and repeating them over and over, like I said. I mean, I think we can be great at a lot of things, but we can be standouts in a couple of things. And what they have to be is true and authentic to who we are as an institution, and certainly experiential learning, and also being so important to the region from a job standpoint. Those are our differentiators. And so the more we tell that story over and over again, the more people start to resonate with that.
I'd like to add one piece to that. So the one thing that the other SUS universities do not have is the amazing team that we have here at UNF. We work with colleagues that are just so dedicated and so student-centered and so focused on helping our students be better that I don't believe any other SUS university has that.
Maybe add also that the gains we've made at UNF, they're not a fluke, and it's not accidental. Every single day, we're working hard and making sure that we're constantly refining what we're doing. And we're not flying blind anymore, thanks to, which is why one of the first people I mentioned here was Abby Wilcox and IR and that team. But the work that Suzanne is doing is also, and Erin, with the rest of our team, is helping us to really focus on what will help us make progress, so that we're not thinking about it, after the fact. And other schools, the advantage, when we first talked about metrics, they took the lead and they immediately got in gear and improved their processes and procedures. And so UNF, we're playing catch up. That's just a fact. We don't like it, but it's the truth, which is why we need all of you. Or when we say we really do need you, we need every single person pointing. The president talks about being in the same boat. We need to be not only be in the same boat, but we need to be on the same river, right? We need to be going down in together, all of us, same direction, rowing in the same direction. Thank you.
And the strategic gains that we're making, the dramatic increases, thanks to the provost leadership, are really make us stand out. I mean, again, you do best practices, you are strategically focused, you think about how you can make these drastic improvements, and this is a national story. I don't get to do my job unless there's a story to tell, and there is a story to tell at UNF, and I do think it's going to be a huge differentiator for us.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to another question. DOGE is targeting humanities and at-risk programs. How are we confident that they're not going to come after ours?
We're not. We can't be confident. We don't know what they're going to do. No one in this room. Do you have the answers to that? No, seriously, with all due respect, we don't know. We have no confidence in what they're going to do. But if the president were here, I think he would say, let us focus on making the most important things important and manage things that we can manage. And so that's all we're doing. We're being transparent. We're doing this work with integrity. I know you are. We have our classes to teach, or students that we have, they need to be educated. The programs we have, they didn't just emerge out of thin air. Everything we do at UNF, every program went through, and was approved some way, shape, or form by the Board of Governors. Right? We didn't dream it up and decide we're just gonna do this. And so, we're not operating in a vacuum. We're part of the system, and we're doing this work. We're coming out and doing it every day until somebody says otherwise.
Thank you. Denise, name and department, please.
Good morning, I'm Denise Durden, I'm the manager of card services. And my question is for marketing, I believe. When I started here in 2013, we had a fabulous brochure called The Facts of UNF, and it was an annual document that came out. And I really look forward to it. We had a lot of data, not only about faculty and staff, but the statistics of our enrollment broke down by grad and undergrad and highlighting the programs. I believe the last publication was 2021. So might we get that back out to the public?
Sure, I think we're telling that story in a variety of channels in lots of different ways, but I do think if there's a brochure with a targeted audience that we feel like could be effective, 100%. I mean, our team is constantly looking at what are the best channels to reach our targeted audiences to get them to think differently about the institution. So we're collecting a lot of that information and data and spreading it across all of our multiple channels. But I do feel like if that's something that would help, help the institution 100%, we start
Yeah, I think it would also help our staff and faculty to let us know. I mean, we're here every day and we love this institution, but sometimes those statistics really help boast our advertising internally and externally when we're out in the public. So
That's a great point.
I've got several of those old copies. if you'd
Perfect.
like.
I would love to see it.
Okay.
Not only that, I would love to see it. Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. OPS, this is probably for Scott. OPS employees are extremely important to many departments. Why has the university made them ineligible for the SPOT awards? Also, they cannot use campus resources like the gym.
So what I do know is that part of our revamped rewards and recognition program is coming. I'll have to look honestly to see if that's some of the changes they're looking at, and they have been going through all of these types of programs, SPOT awards, all this kind of stuff, and totally revamping all that. So they are making a proposal for all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing I'll follow up on. And the other one was the gyms and that kind of stuff. I can follow up on that as well. A lot of times the gyms are actually paid for by student fees and that kind of stuff, so there are certain restrictions that we have to look at there. I'll follow up on this.
Thank you. I think this might be our last question, but what is UNF doing to help athletics remain competitive in the current NIL landscape? Name and likeness is NIL.
Yeah, that's a big topic everywhere. And it's not, the bigger schools are not immune to this either. I mean, for anybody that follows sports, one of the last Board of Governors meetings, they actually brought someone from NCAA, from the state, a number of the big athletic directors, and this is a problem for the large football universities. You see the Florida State struggling to figure out how to make this work. You can imagine what our athletic department is going through. The state is looking at making some changes. Without getting too far into the weeds, they're very restrictive in Florida only. They're very restrictive regulations as to what athletics can and can't do, and what the universities can and can't do to support athletics. The state is looking at changing some of those rules, which would add more flexibility and the opportunity to actually support athletics more. It's not going to solve the NIL problem. I think it's going to have to come at a more national level, but it will allow us a little bit more flexibility to the system.
I would just add, speaking of supporting athletics, I think everyone in this room, if you haven't already attended an athletic event, it's absolutely 100% worth doing. In my mind, it's not whether or not you're a sports fan, it's whether or not you're a fan of UNF and that you want to participate in school spirit. So we've got an incredible athletic department. I think Nick Morrow is fantastic and is doing such a great job with his team. We're doing a lot more on the licensing component, trying to get the UNF brand out more in the region. Again, this is about building pride, building school spirit. We've got our softball team that is in Alabama competing competing the 8th and 9th. It looks like, knock on wood, we may become the ASUN champs. If we do, we'll go to the NCAA tourney, which is huge for us. Again, thinking about building our national reputation when our sports teams get into these major tournaments, it's a big deal. FAU, when they got into the NCAA basketball tournament, into the Sweet 16, they went up in the rankings the next year dramatically. So it's not just about sports, it's really about our institution and our reputation. You will never have a bad time at a sports event at UNF, and I do think there's a lot more that we can do as staff to help support as well. We're looking at everything from a revamp of homecoming to what we do to better support our student athletes, but it really takes all of us to get out there and help support as well. We're not going to raise the billions of dollars we need from the NIL standpoint, but certainly if we look like an institution that is absolutely about school spirit and promoting our athletes, our student athletes, it's going to help us a lot.
And it, we have, not sit here and talk about athletics. How many people in here realize that right now we have we have the number one women 800 meter individual in the country. Number 7 in the world this past weekend. She was just doing incredible things. She was asked to be part of the German Olympic team last year and turned them down because she wanted to finish her time here at UNF. So we have a world-class track star here that a lot of times goes unnoticed. Yeah, certainly encourage everyone to go out and support.
So thank you. That concludes our part 3, and there were a lot of questions that we just simply did not have time to get to. But if you would like to email me with, that way I know who to respond and get those answers for you. I'm happy to do that. So my apologies for not getting all those questions answered, but they were great questions. So thank you everyone for being here today. I know it was early morning. We're grateful that you took the time to join this session and engage with our panel. Much appreciation to our amazing panelists for sharing their time and knowledge today, answering those questions. Great job. Please give them a clap. Today's panel has been a master class in leadership, thoughtful strategy, innovative ideas, and of course, just the right amount of politely dodging some questions. Just quit kidding. Anyway, the work you all do for the university is just incredible. So I wanted to leave you, as we're exiting, with a few quotes to ponder about higher education. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay.
Yeah, collect